Okay, so I know I've been talking about making this video for like 2, 3 weeks now. I don't know. I should have done it forever ago so that I wouldn't be like, I don't know. I'm not like rushed to do it because who's giving me a deadline, but I kind of just gave myself a deadline. I don't know. So I decided to tell Nora's birth story, and I'm kind of like happy that I waited until now to do it because currently it is the day before her first birthday. So I don't know, I just think there's something a little cool about that, I guess. I don't know. I just wanted to tell her story, and there's obviously more to her birth and everything than probably what I'm going to get out in this video because there's a lot to it, and no birth story is the same for any woman, I feel like, or any person. And I don't know. I just feel like when I was pregnant, all I did at close to the end of my pregnancy was look up people's birth stories and like how it all played out in the end. Because you can have your plan all you want, all the way up until, the day you're supposed to have your baby, and everything still might not go to plan. So I have, which I have a lot of my pictures and stuff online, which people have probably already seen them if you follow me on social media. I posted tiny, really, my cat is sitting behind my camera, bird watching. So hey, do you mind to not do that right now? Of all times. So I have a lot of the stuff that I'm sharing on social media already, so it is what it is, but I do have some pictures that I really love. And then I didn't do the best job of this, but I do have my pregnancy journal. I kept up with this somewhat okay. I'm still trying to remember how I felt during some of the months so that I can fill in the days that I missed, but it happens. And then I've also got this one. It's a As You Grow. I think these are both off of Amazon. This one's really nice. It's like canvas, and it's a modern day memory book for baby, and it's just super nice. But I've obviously been keeping what I can in these books, and I'm going to use it to kind of tell my story. I tried to write down an outline to kind of follow with my story, but I just want it to be more laid back than that. It's just storytelling, So, okay, where to even begin? I think if anyone is interested, which I don't think anyone will be, but if anyone is interested in like my journey up until the day I had her, like my whole pregnancy and all that, I figure I can make a different video about that, but that's just a whole different thing. This is just going to be like the night before and the day of her birth. So I had something called a uterine septum, which that's fancier words for a heart-shaped uterus. And what that means is there's like, the best way that I can remember my doctor describing it is there's just like a flap of skin that had divided off a section of my uterus, and then it had become heart-shaped. I don't even know. Here's the thing, I had an ultrasound picture of it, like a picture of it that showed exactly what my issue was, but it was so windy that day. And when I was getting in the car after my appointment, the wind took my ultrasound, and there was no way my big pregnant butt was chasing that across the parking lot at 30 miles per hour wind. But yeah, I had a picture of it, and it's now gone. But I had a heart-shaped uterus is what I'm getting at. So I didn't know that all along my pregnancy, pretty much up until like the last, I want to say it was like month or so, when they kind of figured out I had some type of something going on there that wasn't normal. What pregnancy is normal, but there was something different. So my original plan for delivery was in a birth center, in a bathtub, with water, no painkillers, a midwife there only really when I asked for her help. I wanted to like be able to coach myself along the whole labor process, and like I took hypnobirthing courses. I did it all. Like I was ready to breathe my baby out. I was ready to like do it all. And it sucks because I paid money for a lot of the stuff that, I planned for, but at the end of the day, I'm just happy that my baby came out healthy and everything was fine. But I did have all these plans to have a natural, unmedicated birth, and I had the complete 180 opposite experience of that. Like, it was still a good experience, but it was not the experience that I was hoping for or expecting or anything. So once we kind of determined that it was going to be kind of inevitable for me to have a planned cesarean, that's when the anxiety really sets in. It's nerve-wracking not knowing when you're going to go into labor. So, something about knowing when you're going to be going in and having your baby, I don't know, it's just like, it's a whole mind thing that's hard to wrap your mind around. You're going into a hospital, with just you and your partner, and coming out with another person that you're keeping forever. It's just crazy. So I'm sorry if this is all over the place. Like I said, I wrote an outline to follow, but I feel like it'll be worse if I follow an outline for some reason. Once we kind of determined that a C-section was going to be inevitable and it was just something I was going to have to make part of the plan, I got really nervous because I've never had like a big surgery like that. I feel like I've never been in a big operating room. It's something really scary to think about when you've never done something like that. And then of course, I've in the past watched C-section delivery videos, and that's just a whole other universe compared to natural delivery. So it's a bit scary to watch some videos about it, especially when you know it's going to be happening to you. But I, of course, did what I could to prepare mentally for a C-section because I knew it was going to happen, so might as well do what I can to prepare for it. So I remember a year ago today, I was big nervous. Like, I cannot even explain how absolutely nervous I was to, for one, have a baby, become a mom, everything that comes along with parenthood. And then two, have a really scary surgery done where you're not 100% certain if everything is going to go right. Like, obviously these people are experienced, know what they're doing, but you never know. Something could happen, and it's always scary to think about. So I was big nervous, and I think I was doing everything I could to contain my tears at this point. I don't remember if I took this day off of work or not. I know that I worked up until my delivery day, though, because I was just sitting at a desk, so it wasn't really anything strenuous I was doing other than sitting, which was awful on my back. That was just one thing about pregnancy. Do not have a sitting job because it's not gonna turn out good for your spine. I'm pretty sure that I was at work up until the day, 2 days or the day before I had Nora. So I wasn't, really taking it too easy, but I was taking it easy. And just kind of hoping that I didn't go into labor you know, before my C-section, because I guess I should mention the reason that I was kind of forced into a C-section is because Nora was breech, which is, if you don't know what that means, she was head up in my uterus. So she, you know, to come out, she's supposed to be head down, so her head can come out and then her shoulders and then everything else. But she was head up. And I know that it's possible to deliver with a breech baby, but with my heart-shaped uterus situation, it was looking a little bit dangerous. And it was looking a little bit dangerous. So the doctor just said the percentage of anything we wanted to try to get her to flip around and everything, it was just not in our favor, and it was going to be the safest possible delivery if we did C-section. So that's kind of just how we made that decision, is based on Nora's safety and less on what I wanted my delivery to be, because the ultimate goal is a safe delivery and to have a healthy baby in the end. Hey, can you not? I can't with these cats. They never bother me, and then when I sit down to make a video, they just want to crawl on everything I'm doing. The ultimate goal of delivery is to have a healthy baby, and that's what I got. So I can't complain too much, so I'm not going to. But I'm going to get into these pictures and more stuff from the day of and all that. And yeah, so I'm trying to find the picture of, so this is one of my favorite pictures that Wesley took. I hope this is visible, but this is me super pregnant the morning of my C-section. I don't know if you can see my belly that good, but I was very pregnant and we had just gotten out of the car. This was me right before walking into the hospital to sign in and all that, which we were directed to the wrong sign-in room, which in turn made us late to my operation, so that was cool. I'm not gonna talk about which hospital it was. I don't really want that information on YouTube, but I don't think I'll go back to that hospital. It was a nice recovery in there, but I don't know, man. This was me right before, so I was 40 weeks pregnant right there. And then let's see, I don't have the picture printed, but I'll insert it. I took a picture of myself right before I went into the operating room, and Wesley got a couple more pictures of me, like when I was, you know, at my biggest. And it's just crazy to look back and think how much my belly stretched. Like, I can't believe that it was possible for my body to do something like that. So we were running late because we were directed to the wrong waiting room, and we're sitting there waiting for somebody to call me back, you know, hey, we're ready to cut your baby out, you know. And then I get a call on my cell phone from, you know, the people upstairs in the labor and delivery unit. They're like, are you coming in? Are you gonna come have your baby today? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm sitting in the waiting room. What are you talking about? I'm like, oh, you're not in the right spot. You need to come upstairs. So here I am, freaking out. Me and Wesley and Wesley's dad and my best friend Shelby, we had all found each other right when we got to the hospital. So we spent, I swear it felt like 10 minutes running around the first floor of that hospital trying to find an elevator just to get up to the next floor that I needed to be at. Couldn't find an elevator anywhere or anyone to help us. So here it was, like, it was probably 6 a.m. and we're running around this hospital trying to find an elevator so I can have my baby. It was very stressful. But we finally found somebody who gave us a map where it, you know, directed us to the elevator, and we got up to the unit where my mom and a few other family members, I can't remember, it was kind of a fog at this point because I was so nervous about what was about to happen. I just didn't even pay attention to who was there. I know that my mom was there, but I saw everybody in the waiting room, and they were like, okay, the nurses, they grabbed me really quick, which I wasn't a fan of, but I understand because we were late. But they kind of rushed me into the bathroom to change out of my clothes and into my hospital gown. And Wesley didn't know that at this point, but he kind of got like shoved into the waiting room and didn't get to come back with me at that point when I was like getting prepared mentally and physically and all that. He wasn't back there with me for all that, so I was terrified. One, I had not been in a situation like this before, and two, I had planned for Wesley to be like next to me this whole time holding my hand, and he wasn't there. So I was like, oh my God, when are they gonna let him come back here? So they had eventually got me loaded onto the table thing, the little bed, and got me hooked up to all these IVs, which is the last thing I wanted, was to be hooked up to IVs and all that junk. But it's part of having surgery, so I just accepted it. I had these big, I don't know what you would call them, but they were these big weighted things on my calves to keep my blood circulating while my spinal was in effect. I just remember being hooked up to so many things, and if I can find a picture, I'll insert it, of me in the hospital bed hooked up to everything, and you can see that I'm like starting to get a little drowsy from all of the things being pumped in to my veins and everything. But that moment before they take me back was just so surreal, because you don't think about, you do think about it, but you don't think about the severity of what is about to happen. Like, someone's taking a knife and cutting you open, your skin, your many layers of skin and muscles, they're cutting you open. So I'm sitting there thinking about that, and like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a baby. And see, I'm like, it's a lot to think about, and you get worked up. But I just remember Wesley not being back there, and I was like, oh my God, something needs to happen. I need Wesley back here with me. So I'm laying there scared to death in my hospital bed waiting for something to happen, and the nurses, they're all super nice, and I actually had a birth plan that I had printed out and brought with me, and I had to, of course, edit it majorly from a natural birth to a cesarean delivery. And I just kind of put all of my preferences, like kangaroo care, the see-through drape so I could see her coming out. It was just a whole list of things that I just kind of preferred, and they were super nice about it. I was so nervous about bringing a birth plan with me, because I've heard in the past, different experiences from different women that nurses, could give you an eye roll, like, is this person really trying to give me, rules on how to do my job and all this stuff? But a birth is something really special, and you 100% have the say and deserve to speak your mind about how you want your delivery to go. And it may not be the delivery that you plan for, but it should be able to be as close to what you want it to be as possible. So, like, I'm just trying to get at, don't let nurses and doctors force you into something that you're not comfortable with, because they're not allowed to do that. It's just not. And that's a whole different thing that I could go off on, but I won't do that because this is my baby's birth story. I brought my birth plan, and they were really supportive of it and super nice, and they went over it, and they kind of found like a couple things. They were like, with the delayed cord clamping, we can't really delay it that long because of the nature of, a C-section. It can't be that long. So I was like, okay, I understand. And that was pretty much how that went. They just went down everything. They were like, oh, you want a clear drape? Okay, awesome. We'll get one hooked up. And it was that simple. So Um, then I remember saying, like, is Wesley going to be able to come back here? And they were like, oh yeah, he's supposed to be back here with you. And I was like, oh my God, somebody go get him. So here he comes, and I swear, like, I don't know how he felt seeing me, because I went from like 0 to 100, like just in my regular sweatpants when he last saw me, to, you know, hooked up to every IV you can think of, strapped to a hospital bed. So I'm sure that was a bit overwhelming. I'm sure the whole thing was overwhelming for him, but it's funny because I just imagine being in the man's position, the man or woman's position, and it's so crazy to think about. So he comes back, and I start, you know, getting real drowsy and starting to feel just a lot better. You know, my anxiety's gone down a lot. It's still definitely there, but I can't feel it as much, obviously, because of the medicine being pumped into me. So once I'm good and ready, they're like, all right, are you ready to go? And I was like, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. So they take me and roll me back to the operating room. And that moment was very surreal. I, for one, had never seen an operating room, and just seeing it, like, just the sterility of it, it was just so white and bright, and the sounds and the smells, and just, I'll never forget it. It was just something that I'll never forget. But they didn't let Wesley in with me during that first part, because they need all that space they can get, and they're about to give me my spinal and all this, so I don't know why they don't let him in during that part, but they just didn't. So they wheel me over to the operating table, and I'm laying flat. So I had a nurse at my feet and then a nurse at my shoulders, and they lifted me and transferred me over to the operating table, which I could still move at that point, but it was hard. I was, you know, draggy. So they transferred me over to the operating table, and I remember the anesthesiologist coming in. She was so nice, the best one I could have ever asked for. I loved her. She was amazing. But she made me feel really at ease, and she was like, okay, we're gonna set you up to do your spinal, which is like an epidural, but not. I think an epidural lasts a lot longer than a spinal does. I think that an epidural is more useful during labor, and I wasn't experiencing labor, so they gave me a spinal, which wears off within, you know, hours of it being injected into your spine. So she was like, okay, we're gonna do your spinal. They turn you around to the edge of the table, and your knees have to be touching the corner of the table. And I just remember the nurse standing in front of me, and I leaned over on her like this. I hugged around her neck and leaned over, and they said, just push down, and they put the big old needle in my spine. I am so glad I did not see it, because I know it was huge, but they put the big needle in my spine, and they were like, once we do that, you're gonna have just a couple seconds to get your legs up on the table. And boy, were they not kidding about that. They injected my spinal, and I did not feel my legs within, like, it felt like milliseconds that like they were just gone at that point. So I was trying really quickly to turn and get my legs up, but I got to maybe like this much of a turn, and the nurses had to put my legs up for me. So that feeling was something that I did not enjoy. I did not like having the bottom half of my body just completely numb. That was very scary, but obviously I'm glad that it was when they were cutting me open. The next part about that was super scary was they were like, okay, you're ready to go. You got your spinal, you're turned around, laying down, let's get this going. So they hook up the drape, and then here comes my surgeon. He's the one that's been taking care of me throughout my whole pregnancy pretty much. He knows about my heart-shaped uterus, and he's ready to go. So I remember him coming in with his scalpel and poking the spot where they were going to make it. I remember him poking my belly with a scalpel and saying, "Can you feel this?" And me saying, "Yes, I can still feel it." And then him going in with the scalpel. That was that moment. Okay, so I said that I could still feel it when he poked me, but it was like a second after that, the feeling went away. So it's crazy how he just knew that, like, she feels it now, but she won't feel it literally a second from now. So that was something that was next level, because I was like, oh my God, I'm about to feel someone cutting into my skin. But I didn't feel it. It was just like this weird tugging sensation that I don't have any words to describe other than tugging. You can definitely feel someone cutting. It's something you can tell what it is. So after he made his many incisions, I remember feeling like a little like, ooh, this is crazy. There are arms in my stomach right now. I remember feeling so much tugging, like it was the most tugging I'd ever felt on anything ever. And like, I'd looked down at one point and saw that my belly was just like underneath my skin. There was just so much movement happening. I was like, that's so weird. But then I remember him saying, okay, you're gonna feel a big pull and she'll be here. So he wasn't wrong. I just remember feeling like this giant tug, and you just know when your baby's coming out. Like, you can just tell that's what it was. So he pulled her out, and they held her up in front of the clear screen for me to see, and I just remember her little face. Oh my gosh, she was so mad, and her little scream. Oh, it was everything. And actually, I have a pretty this is a pretty accurate picture of what her face looked like when she first came out. This was her first bath, but I'd say that's pretty accurate to what it looked like. So she came out, and I remember looking down at the doctor, and he was like looking at my uterus. Yes, correct. He had my uterus in his hands, and he was looking at the shape of it because it was different than something he'd worked with in a while, you know? Like, he knew about heart-shaped uterus, but he wanted to examine it some more. So I looked down and saw him looking at it. He was like, do you want to see? And I was like, yeah. When else am I going to have an opportunity to see my own organs, like, functioning, you know? So I remember looking, I was like, oh my God, that's my uterus. And then I got really woozy. Normally stuff like that doesn't bother me, like gory stuff and blood and all that. It doesn't bother me, but I don't know, I guess seeing my own, it just kind of, it did something. But I got really woozy, really nauseous, and then I told my anesthesiologist, and she knocked that out real quick. Like, it was gone within seconds. That's why I say I love her, because if it weren't for her, I probably would have been throwing up when they were going to hand me Nora. So I'm so thankful that she was there to help me. Okay, so this is one of my favorite pictures, which you can't really see his face that well, but this is Wesley cutting the cord, which I wanted to do delayed cord clamping and, you know, maybe save part of the cord, but it didn't work out that way. So that was him cutting the cord, a really cool moment that I didn't get to witness because I was, you know, getting sewn back up. And I feel like after that, everything was such a blur. Like, the feeling of your baby, like, she's finally out. She's out of my body, and it's so crazy. But it sucks because I didn't really get to hold her. They kind of put her close to my shoulder and let me like put my face on hers when she first came out, but I was obviously in no position to hold a baby. I was woozy and, you know, cut open. So that's one thing that I don't really enjoy, but like I said a million times, I'm thankful that she was just healthy. So while they were, you know, stitching me back up and everything, I just remember looking over at Wesley, and he was just watching her, and he took a video of her, and I don't think I remember hearing it, but he said that when they first took her over to weigh her and do everything, he was over there with them watching, and she sneezed, and he said he melted at that moment. It's like, oh my god, I wish I could have seen that, but she sneezed when she came out, which she's a little sneezer. The rest is pretty much history. She's captured everyone's hearts that she comes around. Like, there's nothing that she can do that will make me love her less ever. So I don't know. I'm just really thankful for this past year, and I'm really thankful for this past year and for, oh my god, I was not trying to cry like this, or at all really. Like, motherhood is such a gift, and being able to watch my baby grow up this past year into the person that she is now, I'm just so thankful for everything. Like, just thinking back to how I felt a year ago today and how scared I was of, you know, obviously having a baby and just everything about parenthood I was so scared of, and we've done pretty good so far. My baby isn't perfect. I'm not a perfect mom. You know, it is what it is. We're all on our own journeys here, and we do what we can to get by every day. So, I didn't mean to go off on this whole thing, but I'm just thankful for everything that this past year has brought me, and my baby is gonna be 1 year old tomorrow. Like, what? I wanted to show some more pictures. Anyway, I wanted to show some more pictures from the day she came home and stuff. So this was when we got back to our hospital room that we were going to be staying in the next 2 days. And I finally got to hold her, and we just got to have that little moment as a family together. That was super special to me. Let's see, what else? Oh, this was just her little card. They put my last name on it, which her last name is Wood, but this is just a picture from her little bed. I don't know if you can see. She was 7 pounds, 10 ounces, and 20 inches long. And she was born at 7:55 a.m. on 1/20/2020. This picture is from, they have a little hospital photographer, and they come and take pictures of your baby, and that was one of her first pictures. Sweet little thing. Oh, this was the day that we went home. Oh my god. So she was like 2 days old here, but I just remember being so excited to go home with my baby. And then we've got This was the first 72 hours after we came home. We had to go to the doctor to get her checkup, and that was her on the way to the doctor. These are some of her, which I don't know how old she was in these. Let's see. This was in July, so she was like 5-6 months along here. Some of her ultrasounds. It's so hard to get a good picture of her. That's a pretty good one. Oh, my second trimester. This is when we got our 3D ultrasounds, and we found out that we were having a girl. See her little face there. Oh my gosh. And she gave us full booty shot and showed us that she was a girl. I can't believe my baby's gonna be a year old tomorrow. Like, where has the time freaking gone? Oh, this kills me. This is her hospital. This was around her ankle. Ankle. There it is. Sweet little baby. See, here's her little, cover up the hospital, but her little footprints. Oh, my heart. So that was the delivery of Miss Nora Jean. It wasn't anything super crazy, but it also wasn't what I planned for. Honestly, it went perfect for what it was. It went perfect, and I'm so thankful that it did, because I have the most healthy and perfect little baby I could ever ask for, and I just love her so incredibly much. So I just hope that she can look back one day and just see her delivery story and know that it went good. You know, she came out the way she was supposed to come out, and she's been here a year now. A year. And it's crazy to think about, but we did it, we made it, and I can't believe that I've already been a mom for a year, and that to me is so crazy, and I'm so thankful for that as well, and for Wesley for allowing me to stay home with our baby and take care of her and just give her a good life. And I don't know, I'm just very thankful for everything, and I'm just so happy that my baby is just, she's here, she's thriving, she's living her best life, she's always smiling, she's just happy, you know. And she has her days where she gets in a bad mood and she'll throw herself on the floor and have a little tantrum, but when do we all not have those days, you know? I couldn't ask for a better little girl, and I'm just thankful and happy, and I don't have a really good way to end this video other than, if you sat through and watched this whole dang thing, I give you props, because I know that it's super long, but my brain is kind of all over the place, and trying to remember a day like this it's hard to do, because you just remember things along the way that they pop in your mind as you go. So I'm sorry if this was hard to follow, but I enjoy reliving those moments in my past, so I figured, why not make a video where I can just, you know, relive it over and over. So once again, thank you for watching. If you have sat through or even skipped through this video to get to the good parts, thank you. And Nora Jean, I love you so much, little girl, and I hope that you have the best first birthday. I know that we are in the middle of a pandemic, and there's not much that we can do, and it's a Wednesday, but we're gonna have your birthday party this weekend on Saturday, and it's gonna be super fun. So I hope that you have an amazing birthday, and I love you so much, little girl. And to everyone else, thank you again for watching, And I hope that you have an amazing day, and peace.